Thank you, Mr. Vishal. Really, you brought meaningful value to this forum. And many people already would be planning to visit your plant. So we'll also send the request. But I think he's been a real architect of converting hell to heaven, right? I think it's wonderful. I think the creativity that sparkles, I think that's what we really appreciate. And how typical chemical industries can contribute to society, I think has been a fantastic point you brought in. Then I have great pleasure in introducing Mr. G.S. Ravi. He is a CEO of Chemisol Additives Private Limited, and he would be talking on the topic opportunities for specialty chemicals in Karnataka with a special focus on foreign investment potential. So just to give a brief introduction, Mr. Ravi is the founder of the company Chemisol, and he has also served as a technical consultant to Castrol, then to Lubrizol, then TVS Motor, Bharat Petroleum, and many companies. And currently is spearheading the technology and business development in the fifth largest additives manufacturing company in the world by name Tian He Chemicals. And he has also conceptualized and executed the Chemisol Global R&D Center with an approximate investment of 200 crores. Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When Mr. Parshuraman was introducing me, I was looking back, I was looking everywhere, wondering who you were talking about, but then thank you for the kind introduction. Generally speaking, when I speak about our business, and let's say I speak for 10 minutes, which I'm not going to today, at the end of it, they say, yes, but what do you really do? So we'll try and, I'll try and give you a very quick overview of what lubricant additives are. They are one of the most complex bunch of chemicals and molecules that you can put together, which are virtually covered by a minefield of patents. Lubricant additives have different applications in automotive, industrial, and a variety of other applications like greases, etc. We at Chemisol in Bangalore we have built an R&D center, which we are very proud of because it's one of the most unique centers in the world and the largest in the Asia Pacific region with an investment of over 240 crores. We have several branches within the company's R&D center, including mechanical engineering. Now, you might well ask, why mechanical? So that's the reason I want to talk about it. Most of you, I'm sure, drive cars. Some of you drive high-end cars. Would you ever use a lubricant not specified by the OEM? I don't think so, ever. But have you ever got a car which has broken down because of a lubricant? I don't think so. The reason is, lubricant additives make the lubricant work. It brings in the properties that are required. And these are all specialty chemicals working synergistically with each other to bring in different properties. Now, the development of these kind of products are a very expensive proposition. You are looking at anywhere between $1.5 to $10 million for development costs alone for a single product. And then, of course, there's the marketing and everything else. Why is it unique? I believe that given the extraordinary innovation abilities, particularly in Karnataka, given our engineering colleges, given our scientific institutions, I have found that the young minds in Karnataka have some very unique abilities in terms of not only thinking out of the box, but they are really able to bring in solutions. The young minds are able to bring in solutions to very complex problems. I had the opportunity of putting our Global Technology Center anywhere in the world. The first choice was the United States. The governor of Richmond, Virginia, met me and said they would give us an acre of land for $1, provided we bring in jobs. I said, I am born and bred in Karnataka, born and bred in Bangalore, born and bred butter jammed. And I said, I am going to put my R&D center right here in Bangalore. And that's what we did. And for one moment, I am not sorry that I did it. We put our R&D center with synthesis, pilot plant, performance testing, state-of-the-art analytics, and tribology. Tribology means the science of friction and wear. So we have engineers, chemists, PhDs, analytical instrument experts, etc., all working and converging into making new technologies, defining new technologies. These technologies are converted into what are called packages. Several molecules are put together synergistically and they're called packages, and these are then blended into what are called lubricant-based fluids, and they are tested. An example would be if I was working with a company like JX Nippon in Japan, I would test obviously in Nissan and Toyota engines. Similarly, Chrysler and Ford, I would test in Southwest Research Institute in the US, and Mercedes, I would test at ISP Lab in Germany. The reason I'm giving you this overview is I can assure you that this is a field which is least exploited in India. We are perhaps the only homegrown additive company. The total additive business in the world is about $20 billion, completely dominated by 4 American companies. And there is very little scope for anybody else because of the barriers to entry created by intellectual properties and challenges. I have only 5 minutes, so I'm mindful of my time. One of the recommendations I have to CII and perhaps to the Karnataka government is to try and create an IP cell, an intellectual property cell. You see, small and medium industries cannot afford to have freedom to operate searches, intellectual property searches, etc. They may not know how to go about it. B, they may not have the resources to do this. If, as industries and as elders in the industries, we can get together and advise and form a cell of this kind, this will be most useful to upcoming, particularly chemical industry. This is number one. Number two, while India, of course, is a large market, I would urge most of the companies to look at Europe, US, and other parts of the world as export markets because of the various concerns that are currently prevalent in those countries. Manufacturing of chemicals will be a continuous challenge to them. Large companies like BASF, etc., are going out of out of Germany into countries like China, India, etc., only because A, we have the ability to do it, and B, we have, perhaps we can have the ability to withstand all the environmental pressures. I'm not saying any shortcuts to be taken, that is last of the things that anybody should do. Maintaining best practices in terms of material health, safety, data sheets, etc. are a must. Those are all given. But I believe the scope is extraordinary. When we started looking at what we should be doing in the industry, we were able to attract $30 million into our company as foreign direct investment. It took me 5 minutes, believe me, gentlemen and ladies, it took me 5 minutes to convince people outside of India to put in money because of the expertise that Bangalore has to offer. Trust me, Bangalore has an extraordinary ability, Karnataka has an extraordinary ability to put together some of the best brains in the industry to bring in products that can be beating the world. The only thing I would really urge is try and patent your ideas. We as a company, we do at least, on an average, we do about 18 to 20 patents every year. Yes, patenting is expensive, but believe me, it is extremely important for you to protect your intellectual property. Be it an idea, be it anything else, just file prior art. File prior art, and you must be in a position to defend, because a lot of countries are currently looking at India and they're all concerned that India will grow and there will be more and more barriers to entry. One simple example is REACH. I will not get into a lot of examples. I'll just give you one example of which is REACH. And REACH is it's an inventory status where you need to register virtually all your molecules, and you are restricted by this in terms of the quantities that you can sell, as an example, in Europe. Why have they done it? It's another barrier to entry because they see a flight of capital outside of Europe. They see a flight of capital. They see a flight of industry. So what do? They bring in controls in terms of health and safety, in terms of toxicological data, etc., which is so expensive that you will not even be able to surmount those costs. So this is just one example. What I would urge young minds, and particularly chemical industries, is to look at sustainability in terms of intellectual property, understanding health and safety, toxicology, etc., and as much concern to the environment as we can muster. But believe you me, the scope is extraordinary. I'll be most willing to help the CII in trying to put together panels to help young industries, and with that I would wish everybody good luck and good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi, for a very, very interesting insight. And I think you really inspired many of us why we should bring business and make in Karnataka. And I think definitely CI will make note of your point of creating the IP cell, which is very, very important. I think we understand the kind of significance and the export potential you brought in. I think once you understand the MSDS and try to understand the process, definitely huge potential exists, and definitely Make in India will become more significant and contribute to the GDP of this nation. And 18 to 20 patents is really amazing, and definitely we would love to learn from you and how you have taken this path forward. And thanks once again. We'll give him a big hand. Next, we have a very interesting speaker. I would like to introduce Mr. Rajat Kedia. He's the director of Manjushri Technopack Limited, to share his perspectives on the plastics and its effect on environment, with special focus on Indian and global scenario. So Mr. Rajat Kedia has a rich experience. He studied and graduated his higher education from Cardiff Business School, UK, and he was inducted to the business, and he was trained in various departments, and currently he is in charge of design development arm of Manjushri, and he has a keen interest for new product development, new age materials, and forthcoming projects. And he has done a lot of studies on IIP packing and its impact on the environment. I invite Mr. Rajat Kedia.